Guten Tag and welcome to PA Dutch 101. This is video 6 in our series, and this is a grammar-based video this time. I want to introduce you guys to the idea of personal pronouns and describe how they're used in Pennsylvania Dutch. In Dutch we'd say persoonlijke pronouns. We don't really have a word for pronoun. And a lot of the grammar terms that we're going to be covering in the video series, there aren't really any Dutch words for them. So a lot of times I'll just be using the English word, for example, pronouns. So let's jump right in. Personal pronouns. What is a pronoun? Take you back to your English days in high school. A pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun. Of course, we know a noun is a person, place, or thing. A pronoun would then be a word that can replace a noun in a sentence. An example in English. We have the sentence, John is going home. I think we all know that John is the subject of our sentence, and John is a noun. It's a person. If we wanted to replace John with a word, we would use a personal pronoun. And this will make sense once you see it. We would replace John with he. He is going home. John is going home. Same thing. Okay? So he would be an example of a personal pronoun in English. Here's another example. This time, instead of a person, we have a thing. The book is old. What would we replace the book with as a personal pronoun? Well, we would replace it, of course, with it is old if we're speaking English. Okay? So there's two examples of personal pronouns at work. Okay? When we're talking about the personal pronouns in Dutch, and these are super important because we use them all the time. Of course, think how often you use the words I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. We use them a lot in English. You're going to use them a lot in Dutch too. And this chart will become familiar to you throughout the rest of the video series, and I do a lot with charts because I think they organize things better, and there's certain things I'm going to tell you to or ask you to memorize in certain orders. This is an example. When you're practicing these personal pronouns and when you're learning them, I want you to conscientiously make an effort to learn them in this order. It will make much more sense later on, and as we progress through other grammar units in the video series, if you have this memorized in this order, it will make things much easier down the road. Okay? So let's just go through them real quick. This side of the table are singular ones. This side of the table are our plural personal pronouns. Okay? So the word I in English translates in Pennsylvania Dutch to ICH. We pronounce that as ich. 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 You singular is the word du. Do. 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 He, she, and it in that order. Er. 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 Sie. 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 S. 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 And we look at the plural side now. We in Pennsylvania Dutch is mir. 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 You plural, now here's one that always throws people off because we have two U's. This would be you plural. A lot of times in English we might say you guys. Or in southeastern Pennsylvania you might have grown up hearing people say yous. And out in western Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh area they say yins. Whatever helps you remember. I don't care as far as English goes, but I want you to know that in Pennsylvania Dutch we just have one word for them all. You plural is dir. 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 And then finally they is the same as she, sie. 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 You might think to yourself, how am I going to keep these separate? They're the same word. You will always know in a sentence, based on other things that we're going to learn about later in the series, which one is which. Okay? So, ich, du, er, sie, es, mir, dir, sie. Those are the personal pronouns. Again, memorize them in that order. So, really, in the first 5 videos of the series, you've actually already been using personal pronouns and you didn't even know it. Think about when we were talking about asking someone's age or where you come from. Those are all things we covered in previous videos. We were using personal pronouns. For an example from one of our previous videos, ich bin 32 Jahre alt. And if you remember from that video, that would be I am 32 years old. Ich. In the previous video as well, wie bist du? Du. How are you? You've been using them. Okay? So, just to let you know, you've already been using them, you didn't even know it. Okay? A little bit more. Again, as I said at the beginning of the video, a personal pronoun's job is to replace a noun. So, let's do some of these and see if we can figure them out using our new Dutch words. Use a personal pronoun to replace the red words. So, here's a sentence in Pennsylvania Dutch. Die Mary is ziemlich schlecht. And we've learned what most of this is in previous videos. Mary, girl's name, is not doing too well. So, die Mary is ziemlich schlecht. From our chart previously, what would we replace die Mary with? One girl. She, and it would be sie. Sie ist ziemlich schlecht. Okay? What about this sentence? Be careful. Der Jake und die Sally sind alt. Der Jake und die Sally sind alt. Jake and Sally are old. We want to replace both Jake and Sally. Okay? Now we could do this two different ways. One way would be literally saying he and she are old. Er und sie sind alt. Er und sie. Those are personal pronouns. We could also say they, because it's two people. Sie sind alt. Sie sind alt. Okay? And finally, this is another tricky one. Think about it. Der Billy und ich kaufen ein iPad. Der Billy und ich kaufen ein iPad. So Billy and I, myself, are buying an iPad. Now we want to replace der Billy und ich. Think about that. What would it be in English? Billy and I, we'd replace in English with we. And what is the Pennsylvania Dutch word for we? Mir. Mir kaufen an iPad. Mir kaufen an iPad. Okay? It's important to learn to memorize these personal pronouns. And as I said earlier, memorizing them in the order that I gave them is going to be very helpful down the road. Okay? We will be using these a lot. All the time, I can safely say, in all of our future videos. So the faster you learn them, the better. Okay? Practice saying them in the order we learned, just like I said earlier. And that's it for this video. It's a short one. Hope we touch base on all these personal pronouns. Hope you got some stuff out of it. So I'll leave you at this. Bis die nächste Video. Mach's gut und schwätz Deutsch. And practice those personal pronouns. And I'll be back with video 7 a little bit down the road. Mach's gut.